Hello, hello, hello. Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you? I hope you're doing great. I hope you had a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, I'm gonna let a few people come in the room. It's day two, everyone. Day two of the 14 Days of Love series. And so I know that I've gotten some emails. I've gotten some people have gotten the workbook already, which is amazing. And so I'm really excited about that. So if you have not had a chance to get your workbook for the 14 days of self-love, I encourage you to register for the email on there. And all you have to do is just put in your information. And then what you will, once I get your email and everything, I will go ahead and send you the 14 days of self-love workbook. I just want to tell you about it. It goes every single day of the information that we've talked about, and it's a review of the information. And you have some work, you have some quizzes that what's kind of like quizzes, but there's some questions and answers in there of your takeaways of everything that you've learned throughout the challenge. And then it has some bonuses in there. So I know you definitely want to check that out, so make sure that you download that book, the workbook, 14 Days of Self-Love. And if you joined me yesterday, or if you caught the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but yet you decided to come here, and for that reason, I am grateful. Now, if you catch the replay on there, just make sure that you continue to hashtag replay on this live. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get this party started. I just want to share this out as well. So if you get a chance, you can go ahead and share it out. But this is something that I think is going to be very, very beneficial for anyone who wants to get this information. My name, if you have not met before, is Tanisha Portier. Okay, and I am the author of the book, I'm Living Truth. It is going to be coming out very soon, so I'm going to be posting information so that you will be able to grab that book. And I'm just going to show you right here. I'm super duper excited about it. Here it is. I'm Living Truth. It's possible. Recommit to you. And so everyone is going through their own journey in life, and they are getting back to who they truly are at the core. And so this is something that's going to help you to become your best version of yourself. It talks a little bit about my journey and some things that helps me along my way. And I'm definitely sure that I've got some tips and some things that will help you along your journey as well. All right, let's get into it. 14 days of self-love. So yesterday we talked about what's love got to do with it, about self-limiting beliefs. We talked about self-concept and self-confidence. Now today what we're going to go is we're going to go on a little bit deeper, and this is our topic is 3 mistakes that we make about self-love. 3 mistakes that we make about self-love. And this is, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but this goes in more depth because the first mistake that sometimes we make about self-love is that we feel like we don't have to change. There's nothing to change when we talk about self-love. Well, why do I need self-love? Well, why do I need to change anything? Like, what about me do I need to change for me to love myself more? Well, let's look at the question a little bit deeper, right? Let's think about like if we're in a relationship, right? And so if you're in a relationship with if you have your partner, your husband, your spouse, or your boyfriend, and there's some things, or if, let's say you're dating, right? And you say, well, I like this about this certain person, but if certain things changed with this person, then I think it will be a lot better, right? We know we have those things in the back of our mind. If this person changed, then everything will be a lot better in life. Well, we have to look at it in a little different perspective. Let's take a look at ourselves, and we can say now, well, what is it that we feel that we don't have to change? If we feel like someone in our partner in our space, and and it doesn't have to be a relationship, it can be something else. It could be someone at work, it could be an environment. If this thing changed, then everything would be a lot better. So if we have those perspectives about other things and other people, why don't we feel that there is something that we can change so that we can begin to understand and love ourselves more? So when we talk about the change, it stems back to our conversation of yesterday. So when we talked about our self-belief, our self-concepts, what do we think about? If we never change the old narrative of what we thought about ourselves, or the things that hold us back from believing that we are deserving, that we um, have the ability to have whatever it is that we desire, to become our best version of ourselves, to be able to speak our truth and live authentically, to be able to achieve the goals, and have the things that we want in life, to have the family, to have the friends, like all these things. If we don't feel that that's something that's tangible for us, that is possible for us, then how does that change our, how are we able to receive the things? There are some things that change is inevitable. Change is the only thing that's guaranteed. Change is something that helps us to grow. And remember, in order for us to grow, we know that chaos doesn't create peace, it creates change. Anything, whenever you see something that is happening, that when everything goes upside down and topsy-turvy, we know that, okay, this is kind of like getting me out of my element, it's getting me out of my comfort zone, because there's changes that need to be happen. The most important things that where change can start, when it comes to our three misconceptions of why we don't want to change, is that if we look at ourselves and we look at where we are today versus where we were 5 years ago, versus where we were 2 years ago. Let's put situate ourselves in this whole the pandemic. Just these last 2 years has been nothing but change. And how has this change that has happened created us to become more into ourselves? Because within this change that we sometimes feel like we don't have to change so that we can grow, it's a myth, because this change from these lockdowns has only made us lock in on who we really want to be, what we really want, who we really are, and our feelings. Like, if you've ever noticed that, you've had so much time on your hands, to really think about what we're thinking about, the thoughts that are going on in our minds, what we're going to change when we come out of this pandemic, what are we going to learn, what are we going to do different, how are we going to now respond with the people, the places, the things that come into our life. And so when we start to think about these things, we know that change is necessary. Change is inevitable. And if you don't change, what happens? If we don't change, we stay stuck. We stay stuck in the same narrative. We stay stuck and the world keeps moving. We are at a stagnation, and we're just in a stagnant point, and everybody else is moving along. And the thing about not thinking that we have to change is one big mistake. That is the first point in self-love, is that when we don't change, we turn around and we look, and 5 months go by, 6 months, a year, and we know that everything else has changed around us. Everything else has adapted and overcome. Everything else has elevated, everything, other person or whatever. So we cannot be afraid of change. Sometimes change is uncomfortable. No one's going to always like the different things that are happening around the world, but guess what? It has made us to be more receptive to not only connecting in person, but now we have other avenues such as online. This has also helped us to no longer say, okay, now that there's a little bit more flexibility of going out and hanging out and getting in nature, or traveling, or connecting with friends and family, doing social gatherings, more events. that's something else that has also triggered us to say, okay, as soon as this is over, I'm getting back to life. Like I'm getting back to really living. I'm going to come out of my shell. I'm going to become, the person that I wanted to always be. And I'm not going to hold myself back because I know that change comes. This can be in life, business, health, relationships, all of those things. And it's so important, it's absolutely important that we take the time out to just figure out what it is that we need to change. And we all know that there's something that needs to come about. That we all know that there's one thing or there's two things that we can start with. We don't have to start, from, if we have a list of 5 or 10 things, we don't have to try to start to change everything else because we'll get confused, we'll get overwhelmed, and we'll get frustrated and we'll want to stop. But if there's 1 to 2 things that we know we can change, and let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it at one thing that we can change, that we can take the small steps to help us to love ourselves more. So, for an example, if I know that my attitude has not been the most positive or tasteful, when I'm around friends, family members, coworkers, whatever, then what am I going to do? What have I been hearing from individuals? Well, I think that you could say this a little bit different, or a little bit better, or how about you bring your ideas to the group, and then we can discuss it and see if this is something that we can all work together, because we want to support you. But sometimes we feel like the way that you receive our feedback, or the way you receive our responses, is just, we don't know if we can help you. We don't know how you're going to respond to us. And so it gets really, really difficult when someone wants to come in and step in and help. But unless we do that change and we say, you know what, if you're noticing this, and if he's noticing and she's noticing, then this is something that I really need to take ownership of. This is something that I need to take responsibility of. And in order for me to change, I can see that now I can learn how to be able to express myself in a way that is more positive, in a way that is more conducive, so that it is not perceived in a way of harmful, in a way of threatening, but in a way of more so of unity, of harmony, of cooperation, so that we'll be able to get the things that we need to do as a team. And so if and that's, for an example, if you're working with a company, or even if it's the family or friend, that those are some things. That's just one thing that we can do to begin to change. So, but where does it start? We know that we want to change, let's say again our attitude, or like the way that we communicate. So then we can say, well, you know what, before I say anything, before this person gets on my nerves, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop, and I'm going to, if this is a way that someone is saying things, and I feel a little bit uneasy, I'm going to change. I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond. And the way I'm going to respond is going to be a little bit more elevated than how I would normally respond, because I know when I mix in my energies, and when I lower my vibration, and when I get in the same type of communication, I know that there's going to be some type of negative energy that comes from that. But if I can just go ahead and keep my vibrations high, respond, or choose not to respond, because everything doesn't need a response, right? Everything doesn't have, you don't have to go back and forth with anyone. But when you start to notice that you are taking the power, you are taking your power back, you are able now to say no to that phone call. You are starting to delete that text. You are starting to change. It's also taking off the ease for you to even have to conjure up, to figure out what, okay, how am I going to do this, how do I need to say this, and things like that. So it's actually helping you to process things and take things a lot easier, step by step. So either you can think things through before we speak, and we can say things, and then when we come across and when we need to express ourselves, it comes in a more loving, and a more peaceful, in a more harmonized way. And guess what? In the people, or the person, the family member, or whoever that hears us now is like, something changed about you. Wow, like, you really, I don't know what it is, but the way we have this conversation, and the way that you're doing things, and the way you're carrying yourself, it is just a big difference, and it's amazing. I just want to compliment you. I just want to tell you that, I thank you for, responding in that way because I wasn't for sure. Those types of things really, really not only other people notice, but within you at the end of the day, when you're done speaking and when you're done having conversations with people, you feel so much more at peace, so much more at ease. And that's just one simple thing when we're talking about change. We know what it is at our core, the things that we need to change so that we can embrace who we really are at the core level and what we really want to become. So if we want to become more of what we see, more of what we feel, more of what we think, then we can't always look at it in someone else. We have to become the change that we want to see for all of it to manifest. Okay, so that is point one. That is super, super important. The next is going to go off of this. It's going to stem right off of it. This is number two. And this is another misconception. This is number two, is one of the biggest mistakes people make about self-love. And that is having to taste their own medicine. And it feeds right back off into line to the first point. And so as I was talking, when sometimes when we have said things about ourselves, and or we have felt things a certain way, or we feel like, man, I just wish I should have got that done, or I'm never going to be able to make it like everybody else is doing it. She has this and he has that, and they have this, and look at me, man, like I wish I can do that. I wish I was able to obtain that. Like I know mine was, I know what, my project was a lot better than theirs. I don't know why they didn't choose me. Well, when we start to put this out in the atmosphere, when we start to actually say things that are harmful and have negative thoughts and negative feelings about not only other people but ourselves, do we understand that that is the vibration, that is the energy that we're putting out into the world and out into other people? And even though you don't know, you may not understand, but that is coming right back to you. So even if you don't speak the words, our hearts, that's why we have to guard our heart. That's why when we say you can taste your own medicine, and even if you don't even know, like sometimes we don't even know what we're doing, we can give a stare, we can give a comment, we can give a gesture, and those things that we're giving out, if we are putting those out to others, do we understand that what we put out, we get back, we taste our own medicine? So what we want to know is that the biggest mistake is that we don't think that that's going to come back to us. Well, guess what? That is a number one, that is number two mistake about what we don't understand about what we need to understand more about self-love. What we put out is what we get back. If we want to see the good, if we want to see the beautiful, if we want to see the lovely, if we want to see the just, if we want to see the kind, if we want to see all things working together, then we want to know that we want to put out the most good. If we want to be able to have a mindset of everything and everyone is always, we want to know that we live in a world where with all that is really happening around us, and everything that we're seeing on the news and on TV and all the gossip and everything we want, at the end of the day, we have the choice, and we have to fix our mind. We have to create a mindset, whereas, you know what, maybe all of these things are happening all around me, all around us, but I'm going to choose to see the good in everything. I'm going to choose to see the God in you. And I don't have control over what you see in me, but if I choose and if I see things in a way that is positive and uplifting and beautiful and righteous and noble and just, then those things are going to have to there's going to have to be reciprocity that is happening in my life. And so what we really need to understand is that we are always going to taste our own medicine. We're always going to taste our own karma. So let that karma, let that medicine be a good flavor. Let it be a bubblegum flavor. Like, let it be a cotton candy flavor. Like, let it be a fruit flavor. Because I'm telling you, one of the things that we have to know is that We are reflections. You are my reflection. I am your reflection. We are all connected. And so whenever what you feel about yourself is what others feel about you. And so when we come and we think about self-love, the more love we give ourselves, the more care we give ourselves, the more attention we give ourselves, guess what? That's the medicine that people are going to give to us, because they're going to see genuinely that you really, really love yourself, genuinely that you really, really want to hang around yourself. You want to be around you. And it's not that you don't want to hang out with anyone else. It's not that you don't have any other friends. It's not that you don't want to talk on the phone, but you really enjoy who you are becoming. And it's a beautiful thing. And so when you're inviting that love energy, that peace, that happiness, that positivity, people are going to see that. And what are they going to do? They're going to show you that off. They're going to show you favor. You're going to get tickets to different events and conferences and different places, and people are going to want to have you come and present or be a part of their team, or just want to be able to support you in any way they can, because they see the bright light that is shining on you. So the medicine that we give out, we will get back. So every single time we have to watch our thoughts, we have to mind our mind, because it starts, remember what we talked about yesterday, everything is you win or you lose in your mind. And the medicine that we give out is something that we have to be ready to be able to take back in. And guess what? And we don't always get it right. We don't always get it right because, we're human. We make mistakes. We're learning, we're growing. And, when we fall, we get back up again. That's the natural part of life. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we begin to love. And when you get to a point where you have experienced so much in life, so much in relationships, so much with people, that you're like, look, this person over here is doing this, and that. And you are now at a non-judgmental awareness stance. That means that you are not even trying to judge this person. You're not even trying to say, you know what? No, y'all see that? Like, did y'all see what happened? You know already the things that have happened and transpired in your life because of the things that you have done and you have said, and the energies that you have put out, that you're like, I'm not messing with that. Oh no, not today. Like, you know what? I'm gonna pray for that person. Like, okay, I'm gonna wish them well. God bless them wherever they are. Like, I pray the best for you, and all is well. Everything will work out fine. Just don't worry about it. And when you send out good, lovely, noble, just vibrations, when you genuinely want to see the best for everyone, no matter what is happening, guess what? If something happens where you need a lift, where you need support, where you need guidance, that energy, that vibration, that love, that peace, that support is going to come right back to you. And guess what? Sometimes we don't even have to say things. It can be a thought. And guess what? Thoughts create things, and things create experiences, and experience create your reality. So now that we know that when we want to taste our own medicine, we create our world, we create our reality. And so what we give out, we put back in. All right. Now, I hope this is making a lot of sense, because we're moving to now number 3 of the biggest mistake that we make about self-love. And that is living in the past. Living in the past. That means that we have to and here, and and I say these things because I've learned a lot, I've read a lot, I've researched a lot, but I don't know everything, but I know a few things. And what I want to say about living in the past and feeling like, are you worthy or deserving, or like you used to be able to do it, you used to have that, you used to be able to walk in a room and have all eyes on you. You used everybody used to call your name. Everybody used to say, oh, y'all know this is so and so. Wait till she come. We're gonna hang out. You used to have that. You used to have that woo. You used to have it, but you feel like somewhere, somehow it just got lost in the shuffle. It just got lost in the past. You were trying to figure out who you are. And so you're losing that self-love. You're losing that self-care, that self-guidance, um, that self just it's a deep, deep, deep feeling that you may feel a little bit lost or flustered or frustrated because you're trying to find yourself, but you're also in the past. And so when I say you, I'm talking about me, I'm talking about us. And so when we know that this huge misconception of living in the past, of living in a space where we feel that we'll never get that back. We'll never have that again. Like that, that was a good old time. That was a good old day, girl. Y'all remember when we did this? Yeah. And so when we live in the past, when we live back in the day, we have to understand, look, that doesn't mean that was a past, but now, as God said, now is the time. Okay. So research has shown like being present is powerful. When we can't live in the past all the time, you can't drive looking in the rearview mirror. Like you can't change if you're always looking back. Because the thing is that when we live in the past, we are caught up in trauma. We are caught up in self-sabotage. We are caught up in the good old days. We are caught up in that was all the good don't last. But let me tell you something. When we live in the past, we are now locking ourselves down to the good that can come to us. When we feel like everything else has passed us by, we only get one chance, maybe two, maybe three if you're lucky. If we have that mindset, listen, there is no growth. There is no transformation. There is no resurrection. There is no true living. So we have to cut that myth, suspend those beliefs that living in the past is going to help you. You can't live in memories all your life and then wake up and then, just like, oh man, I see, this life, I don't even, this is not what I want. And you're living in the past, you're like, but back then, y'all should have seen me back then because, and I had this and that, and I had my car, and I had my degree, and I had this. Okay, where's it at now? Okay, where's he at now? Okay, so what? Let the trauma go. Like let the baggage go. Like pack light. Like living in the past is not doing you good. Everything you need is inside of you. The late Miles Monroe has always said, everything you need is inside of you because God never put your gifts in front of you. He never put it in your future. God never put your gifts in your future, and he never put it behind you. He put it inside of you. So now is the time. So that means we have to absolutely stop living in the past. We have to stop the sob stories. We have to stop, oh, woe is me, because what it is that you're capturing and you're saying and you're inviting that same vibration. So anything that is good cannot catch up with you because you're still back here. But this person, this company, these people, this group, these wonderful, amazing things, these miracles want to happen to you. They want to take place, but we are still captured in like, oh, but I don't know, and afraid to step forward. All we need to do is shake off the dust. All we need to do is move forward. Just remember the movie, Finding Nemo. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Like get out of the past and begin to move forward. Begin to walk in your leadership. Begin to own your truth. Begin to own your self-worth and self-love, and know that you are deserving. It doesn't matter what friends, sisters, brothers, family members, ex boyfriends, whoever's watching this, it doesn't matter. Whoever catches a replay, it doesn't matter what your teacher said, they said at the job, your neighbor, the whole family. It does not, because you are special. You are worthy, and that last conversation that might have got you down will not hold or keep you down, because that's old news. That's the past, and you're not responsible, nor do you have to have any clutches on that, because that's none of your business. Right now you're moving forward. Right now you're walking out of your past. You're breaking the chains, and you're moving into who you truly are, and that is your God-given power. That is your birthright, to have every single thing that you want. And so when we look at these three different mistakes, the three biggest mistakes that we make about self-love, we know now that we can push forth, that we can break forth, that we can have, that we can be, that we can do everything that we want, because then we will begin to embrace the love. Then we will begin to embrace the joy and the happiness of who we are naturally and who we are becoming. So I hope that this message has helped you. Number one, the biggest mistake is that we don't need to change. Number two, the biggest mistake is that we will never taste our own medicine. That we won't be able to listen to the feedback or feel like there's no karma that'll happen in the universe. And number three is living in the past, that we feel like all the good that has happened has already happened, when everything that God said is now is the time. I will do a new thing. So love yourself, hug yourself, heal yourself, to your own self be true, and let it start little by little. Walk. Take baby steps. Smile at yourself. Tell yourself you love yourself in the mirror. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Self-love, self-love is a process. Self-love is a journey. Never put a timeline on it. Never put a timeline on it, because your growth is the most important thing. And so when you're not worried about anybody else, you're not worried about you don't have a time frame on how you heal. Time does not heal everything, but putting in the work does. Putting in the work, time may heal some things, but it doesn't change unless we put in the work. So I invite you to download the workbook. This workbook is my 14 days of self-love guided workbook that's going to help. That I want you to write these takeaways down. What did you get from this message? Was there something that triggered you to want to make a change? Is there something in these three biggest mistakes that we learn about, that we get about self-love, that were important to you? And when you get this workbook, you're going to work through these exercises. It's going to be a wake-up call. It's going to help you to really dive in deep and learn so much about yourself, so that you'll be able to create the natural, God-given love of who you are. You are perfectly and wonderfully made. I love you. You're amazing. You're wonderful. You're phenomenal. Be your authentic, true self, because you are the most powerful person that you know. All right, my name is Tanisha Portier. I'm so grateful and thankful that you've taken the time out to be here. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to be here with me. And I want to just again show you my book, I'm Living Truth. This book goes over so many different practical tips and knowledge to how to help you along your journey to be your authentic, true self, to be who you are at your natural core, and to have fun while doing it. So I hope that you enjoy this message. I hope that are some takeaways. I'm going to scroll down just to see if there are any comments or if there's any questions or anything that I've missed. If you're catching the replay, oh, hey. Oh my goodness, Angela, thank you. I was like, I should have been watching the replay. So I did see, Angela, thank you again for watching. I'm always grateful for this. And so, yeah, during the pandemic, has pushed you to change in so many things and even relocate. Yes, that it will definitely trigger a lot of things, because you will really figure out what it is that you want. So thank you so much. Tony, oh my gosh, family is watching me. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love you very much. And Alessandra de Santo Domingo, yo te quiero mucho, muchísimo. Gracias por mirar aquí. Espero que toda la familia que está bien, Santo Domingo. Espero ver ustedes pronto, no sé cuándo, pero ya tú sabes, te quiero mucho, todos ustedes. Okay, great. So, oh my goodness, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, it's 14 days of self-love. We're on day 13 tomorrow. We're going to keep going on. Register in the link. I'm going to post the link again so that you will be able to check out the 14 days of self-love guided workbook, and I also have a self-love meditation that I'm going to be doing with you, and you can listen to this meditation anytime you'll need it, so you'll be seeing that coming too. I'm so excited, super duper excited for you. And that is all. So I will talk to you soon. If you have any comments, please share this message out if you feel like that it could help, if that it helped you, or if it could help someone else. All right. Have a beautiful, wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I am blowing kisses to the globe. And as always, smile. Are you smiling? Let me see. Okay, you're smiling. Bye.